Hi guys, welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host Gibson Johns, and we are back. We took a week off last week, and while I missed doing this, it was actually kind of nice to have a week off, especially considering all that was going on in our country last week. It was a big week, so it was nice to be able to concentrate on that and not have an episode of this come out. But I'm excited that we're back. We have a really great slate of interviews over the next couple weeks, especially Bravo fans will be happy about that. And this week we have the newest cast member of The Real Housewives of Dallas on, Tiffany Moon. Tiffany has really kind of joined this 5th season of the show with a bang. She is a fully open book. She kicked off her first episode of her first season as a Real Housewife on TV with this really kind of intense emotional moment with Brandy Redmond, where they talked about the fallout and the backlash of this video that resurfaced of Brandy that was, making fun of Asians. And Tiffany really had this come to Jesus moment with Brandy, and she kind of took that challenge, that burden of having that conversation totally head on. She took it as a teaching moment, and I think it created for a really special moment on a show that you wouldn't expect to see that moment. And I think the viewers of that show are probably better for having seen that conversation happen. And for Tiffany to sort of take that on her first episode, to me, says everything you need to know about her. She also has been totally open about her family life, her career as an anesthesiologist. I think I said that right. Sorry if I didn't. There's also some kind of promising conflict with some of the other ladies there. So I think she's really checking a lot of boxes. She already has a fan army name, the Moonbeams. She's great on Twitter. She just is a really, really great housewife already, and I'm so excited for the rest of this season. So it was fun to talk to her. We talked all about that. We kind of went through each of the different ladies and talked about where she stands with them, if there's going to be conflict there or not. And we also talked about sort of like the social media of it all. She's really fearless on Twitter, like her and Carrie Brittingham had this kind of intense back and forth. We talked about joining the show as a first-generation Asian American and her being able to tell that story of immigrating to the United States at age 6 and learning English here and facing bullying growing up, and all of that. We really talked about everything under the sun. And one thing that surprised me was that at the very end of the interview, I asked Tiffany, would you come back for a second season? And usually when I ask that to a new housewife, especially early on, it's like a resounding yes. It's like, of course, I'm having so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And she said she's having fun, but her answer was not a resounding yes. In fact, she hinted at potentially being a one-season wonder. So I'm not going to spoil it. Keep listening to hear exactly what she had to say. But that was definitely an unexpected moment from her. And again, honesty, open book. And that's all I want from these Real Housewives, because that creates for the best TV and the best, honestly, TV personalities as well. So keep listening for my interview with Dr. Tiffany Moon. But I think in 2021, I'm trying to kind of keep thinking about things that I'm looking forward to this year. 2020, again, was just like a shitstorm all around. So thinking about things that I'm actually excited about in 2021 as we continue sort of being in lockdown and quarantining and being careful in our day-to-day lives, I'm trying to think about positives and things that we can look to. So one thing that I'm personally looking forward to, and again, I know this family is not for everybody, the Kardashian-Jenners, they're coming up on the final season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And to me, it's an end of an era, and they're going to go out with a bang. So with Keeping Up with the Kardashians, for a while, it was the main vehicle for how these women were becoming famous, right? But then social media and Instagram particularly blew up. And for a while, there were some seasons where it was sort of like, why is this show still on? We're learning about things in the tabloids. We're learning about things on their Instagram feeds or Instagram stories. And then they're rehashing them 6 months later on the show. But at a certain point, really huge things started happening in the Kardashians' lives that we ended up getting huge kind of really telling behind-the-scenes looks at on their show. So whether it was Caitlyn's transition or the Paris robbery when Kim got robbed at gunpoint in Paris, whether it was Kylie and Khloe's dual pregnancies where they didn't say anything publicly about them for Kylie until she had the baby, Khloe for most of her pregnancy. They kind of stay mum on some of these topics that are sort of percolating in the ether. And then on the show is when they really kind of give you that look and they really share their side of that story. And, you know, that was sort of the answer. That was sort of the purpose that Keeping Up with the Kardashians was serving for this family for a while. And then I'd say in the past couple of seasons that has died off. We got that with the Tristan, Jordan, Khloe triangle cheating scandal situation a couple, like 2 years ago or so. But since then, it's been kind of like a little bit of a snooze. I still enjoy watching it, but there hasn't been that kind of that wow moment. And this final season, though, is promising to be that. So obviously, everyone's seen the Kim and Kanye divorce reports, which, you know, apparently Kim is imminently preparing to file for divorce from Kanye. She has Laura Wasser, the famed Hollywood divorce attorney, on retainer. And apparently she's like preparing to file for divorce any day now. And she has kept totally silent on these reports. And that's actually incredibly rare for Kim Kardashian. Like, usually they are the first ones to take to Twitter or their Instagram story to shoot something down or confirm something, or be like, hey guys, like, lots happening, like you'll learn more later. Like, she has said nothing. She has just continued to post all her little Skims try-on videos in her dressing room at her house. It's pretty much all promotional for her on social media at this point. And again, we have heard nothing of Kim and Kanye's potential split from her. And, you know, they've been married for 7 years, and I have that number in my head because I was abroad in Florence and I went home 2 weeks before their wedding back in 2014. And you know that if they had gotten married while I was there, I would have been at the fucking front of that paparazzi line, and I would have been trying to get my sneak peek of anything when I was there. But sadly, I left before the wedding happened. Anyway, I digress. I think with Kim and Kanye, they're clearly going to share their story, or at least Kim is going to share her side of this story on the final season of Keeping Up, and it's going to promise to be kind of like much watched television, I'm guessing. I kind of think that we will see her thought process as she kind of like struggles with her marriage and then ultimately decides to split from Kanye. Apparently they're sort of like living separate lives, and she is definitely saving it for this season. Page Six ran a report about a week ago that got confirmed as much. And I think that they know what they're doing, and they are going to make this season, they're going to up the intrigue for this season because of that silence on this topic. And I think we're going to get that behind the scenes look during the pandemic as they go through this split on the final season. And what is really also very, very smart about this is that it's setting them up perfectly for their huge Hulu deal. They signed this big deal with Hulu to move all their programming there. I'm sure we'll get a bunch of different shows from them, but apparently we are going to get some sort of like Keeping Up adjacent type show. And Kim and Khloe are the two people that still really love to film. And so Kim still leans into this show and leans into this format. And I think that, you know, as we set up for that Hulu era, people want to know what a single Kim Kardashian in her late 30s looks like, right? Is she going to move on with a celebrity? Is she going to move on with a nobody? Are those Van Jones rumors true? What does singledom look like for Kim Kardashian in her late 30s, or now she's 40, as she prepares to become a lawyer, still runs all of her businesses? Like what does that look like? And I think we haven't seen a single Kim Kardashian in a really long time. And I think that's going to be intriguing for people. I really do. Even though people probably are going to shoot that theory down, I think that people do, even if they hate Kim Kardashian, they care about what's going on in her life. And so that's just something that I'm looking forward to. I think the final season of Keeping Up, I don't think that they're going to disappoint us with it. So again, we'll see when that trailer drops whether these theories are right. But that's sort of what I think is going to be coming for us. Anyway, keep listening for my full interview with Dr. Tiffany Moon, the newest addition to the Real Housewives of Dallas, which airs at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays only on Bravo. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Enjoy the interview. Okay, so we are here with Dr. Tiffany Moon, the newest cast member of the Real Housewives of Dallas. Tiffany, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm good. It's snowy here in New York, and so I'm cozy in my apartment, excited to be talking to you.
Yeah.
How has your experience been so far on the Real Housewives of Dallas? You know, I think by the time this airs, we'll have seen 4 episodes. Obviously, watching it back is very different than filming. So what's your mindset right now?
You know, it's a really different mindset to transport yourself back to something that happened almost 6 months ago and then hear your castmates' opinions about it. Sometimes their opinions are not always so positive, and it hurts my feelings. And I'm like, why didn't you just tell me that at the time? that you didn't like something or whatever.
Right.
But then they say it in an interview, and then I hear about it now. And truth be told, it does hurt my feelings when people say negative things about me, because I'm a human. I want to be liked, and I, want to be a part of this new group of women that I've started hanging out with. So there have been some hurtful moments.
Mm-hmm. Is there something in particular that stands out to you from a confessional? Because again, you're seeing them essentially the same time that we're seeing them.
Yes, exactly. I don't get to see the shows before you get to see them. So it's always a little bit anxiety provoking on Tuesdays. I have to take a little extra anxiety medicine. The whole thing with Cam about the chicken foot, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how much longer do I have to talk about chicken feet? I do admit that I was a little overly enthusiastic for her to try a chicken foot. But I did that out of good fun. I never put her in harm's way. I was never in her face. I just really thought it would be funny. And when I see it back, I do see that it came across as overly pushy.
But I think also it's like I saw what you were saying in the moment, which was like, it's not just necessarily about it, trying a food. It's about sort of like the reaction to that. And sort of, it was a little bit insulting to a Chinese custom, which is chicken feet. And it's something that people eat. And it's like, I thought that the reaction was a little bit disrespectful. So I think that your reaction was also pretty warranted in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, there's a way to politely decline something that you don't care for. There is a way, I don't care for that. Thank you for offering it to me, whatever. That was not the same as, can I get a barf bag? Like, there are different ways to decline.
It's over the top. It's definitely over the top.
Yeah, and then, we do over the top because we're trying to be entertaining, right? No one wants to see a bunch of girls at brunch getting along and talking about their kids', soccer schedules, right? Like, we are trying to be entertaining, but I did feel a little bit insulted at the reaction that I was getting. Not so much that she wouldn't eat a foot, but just that she had such a strong reaction to something that I consider a normal thing.
Exactly. So stepping back a little bit, I mean, I would just love to hear from you, like, why did you join Real Housewives? Like, what for you was appealing about this experience? Because I've seen in interviews, you talked a little bit about that, but I want to hear from you just like, you had this full career and you have a great family life. And what about this Real Housewives experience was super intriguing to you to the point where you wanted to join?
Yeah. Everything I've ever done in my life has been by the books, exactly according to plan. And I've never really gotten out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone is to be with my family, go to work, be a good doctor, write research papers, teach medical students and residents. That's what I do day in, day out.
Right.
And so when this opportunity presented itself, it was really out of my comfort zone. And I think that sometimes when you push yourself outside of your comfort zone is when you grow as a person. Now, let me not get too philosophical and deep here and say that joining Real Housewives is, the way to introspect and find out more about oneself. That's not exactly where I was going.
The number one reason, right?
But I will tell you that throughout the show, I did find many things about myself that weren't so clear to me before. It really did bring up a lot of personal issues within myself that were brought out by being on the show.
Mm-hmm. And Deandra is who introduces you on camera to the Real Housewives experience. And you guys go far back and you kind of saw her filming, and that's sort of also what sort of kind of, I feel like probably kind of caught your eye a little bit. What had you heard about, the whole experience of being a Real Housewife from either her or if you were connected with anybody else before signing on?
Yeah, Deandra, told me the positives and the negatives. And in true dork fashion, I went home and made an Excel spreadsheet.
Amazing.
The positives, the negatives. And I was like, positives gives a platform for me to tell my story. Positives hopefully will inspire young women, especially those of Asian American descent, to get out there and, push themselves and do all the things that they want to do. And then the negatives was like, exposing my family, you know, exposing my husband and my children. And look, I don't have any skeletons in the closet. You know, I don't have some soft porno movie floating around in the internet or something like that. So I don't have any skeletons in the closet. I'm an open book. You know, like you're not going to find anything on me. I'm led a pretty boring, good life as a doctor and a mom thus far. And I thought, you know what? It doesn't happen often that Bravo comes knocking on your door. And I felt a shift in my values and what I wanted this year. And last year I had told Deandra no. And this year she was like, this is the last time I'm going to ask you. And I was like, you know what? I'll do it.
You needed that ultimatum. Maybe you needed it to be like, you know, this is your last chance. This is your last chance. And you know, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that I'm glad you joined, because I think you're bringing a totally new energy to the show, and it's already so apparent that you're good. You do well on TV, I think.
I appreciate that. That's really sweet.
Yeah. And I think, you know, another thing I want to ask is like, I'm curious if you had any reservations about joining because of, you know, between last season and this season, a cast member got fired for being racist, and you know, she went on a tangent that was kind of anger fueled, and it was really hard to watch. And then obviously going into this season, we came in amid sort of a backlash against Brandy for the video that she made. You know, just as a first generation Asian American, as a minority joining an all white cast, what did you have any reservations about it from that lens, or were you sort of embracing it as an opportunity for increased representation? Like, I'm just curious what kind of wheels were turning in your head when it came to that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it's more the latter of what you were saying. I thought maybe if I can come on this cast and share with these women my personal story of immigrating to the United States when I was 6 years old, learning English, dealing with racism, it would sort of be a real issue to them. Totally. As opposed to oh yeah, there's racism, and of course we don't like racism, you know, but until they meet a person and hear their story and they're like, oh my gosh, that must have been so hard for you as a child, then I think it really hits home with them. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? I'm not explaining that very well, but I really embrace this opportunity to come on a predominantly white cast, hopefully just to bring a little bit of diversity and share my story with the ladies and with America.
Mm-hmm. And I don't remember a first season, first episode, Real Housewife, kind of taking a huge, intense topic and issue head on in the first episode. Like your conversation with Brandy, I think I tweeted this. It's honestly kind of a groundbreaking moment for any franchise on Bravo, honestly, because it was such an emotional, true, authentic conversation about race. And I think we're seeing that on Atlanta, and we're going to see that, I think, on some upcoming other franchises. But to have this happen on the Real Housewives of Dallas, to have the conversation between you and Brandy happening in the season premiere of the show in your first episode, to me, it was just incredible. When you kind of thought about kind of approaching that topic and having that conversation with Brandy, was it the same kind of mindset for you, which was like, I'm going to take this on as sort of a challenge and not look at it as necessarily a burden, but look at it as a teaching moment?
Yeah.
You know, is that sort of what your mentality was around that?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Brandy had dealt with this backlash that I didn't even know about. She was suffering so much mentally from the distress of the backlash that she got, that she was suicidal, which I had no idea. Right. And so when it was time for me to talk to her, which I felt was my obligation and responsibility to do, I did not think that if I came at her and was like, you're a racist, you suck, that would have helped her. One, I don't think she's a racist. Two, I've never thought that she was a racist. Three, I do not think that the video she originally posted and later resurfaced was ever meant to hurt anyone maliciously. I know Brandy now, and she is just a goofball, and it was in poor taste, and it was ignorant, and we've all made mistakes, but she does not need to die on the cross for that. Right. So I wanted to just bring across a little bit of my own personal story so that she could see why the squinty eye thing could hurt so many people. Because even for me, even though I don't think she's racist, it did trigger some memories of back when people used to do that to me. I mean,
Yeah,
kids
I'm
legit
sure.
did that to me.
Mm. I mean, it's so upsetting. It was so upsetting to hear your story, but I also think, again, it was just important for a lot of people to hear that. I mean, a lot of people probably thought back to their own childhoods and whether they saw other people doing that or there are Asian viewers that were watching that and related to your story. Did you hear from people in terms of like your story affecting them right off the bat?
I did.
Awesome.
The social media has really blown up.
For sure.
And I'm so sorry. I don't check my DMs, and I try to at least respond to the comments on my posts, but I do try to at least read the DMs, even though I don't respond to all of them. And I got so much positive feedback about thank you for that important conversation you had with Brandy. Thank you for coming from a place of kindness and grace instead of kind of skewering her for it. That was such an important conversation. I'm also Asian American, or I'm half Asian American, and thank you for being our voice. I got an outpouring of love after that episode, and I was overwhelmed, very touched and overwhelmed with the outpouring of love.
I love to hear that, and I think that kind of plays on this thing that I whenever I interview a new housewife, I love to sort of ask about how they're dealing with the social media aspect of it all, because I think for a lot of people, it's a lot to deal with, because it's like all of a sudden you're getting all of this immediate feedback, positive and negative. You have your new fans, you have your new detractors, and it's probably a lot to deal with. But it seems like, I mean, judging by your Twitter and Instagram, and it feels like you're kind of just taking it in stride and loving sort of the social media aspect of being on a show, because your Twitter is a gold mine, I have to say.
Well, okay, so the thing about social media is that it allows you to reach so many people that you would have never had access to.
Exactly.
It opens your world. I have fans that are tweeting me from Australia, and I'm like, they show Housewives of Dallas in Australia? Like, I had no idea. And about the detractors, as you say, I call them trolls.
Better word for it. I'm being polite.
I never ever expected when I went on this show that everyone would love Tiffany and I would be blah, blah, blah. No, I'm just trying to tell my story. Sometimes I say things that are probably not the nicest, and people are like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. Look, it's an entertainment show, okay? We're not making some CNN documentary about whatever.
Exactly.
It's meant to be fun entertainment. So, take a chill pill, first of all. And I don't expect everyone to love me, because no one is universally loved.
Nobody, exactly.
Maybe Mother Teresa. I mean, So I will take the negativity, because the positivity and the impact that I feel like I'm making on people more than outweighs the negativity.
Good. And I don't remember a new housewife already having a name for their fans, the Moonbeams. I mean, come on, that's the dream. That's first, an amazing fan name. And second, not everyone gets that treatment.
I don't know who to give proper credit to for that. It kind of just came through, and I don't know the original person who first said Moonbeams.
We'll figure it out.
This is important stuff here. And I mean, they are so cute. And then Danny Pellegrino, so cute. He was like, I'm moonstruck. And I was like, oh my God, you guys. Love. I am feeling so much love right now. Like, my head is just really, my heart and my head are big. Needs to bring me down.
Don't let it go to your head, Tiffany. Come on.
Yeah. Let me read some troll comments and I'll get back down to earth real fast.
Right. And I think also, I think we can get into your interaction with the other ladies in a second, but I think, what makes a good housewife is also sort of their solo scenes, their what they kind of open up with their family, what they tell us, how much they're really opening the door for us, how your confessionals are. And I think that you're really checking a lot of those boxes as well. I feel like, again, I've only seen 3 episodes of this season, and I already know so much about you in a great way. Your relationship with your mother and how that's changed over the years. We know a lot about your kids and your husband and your career, your immigration story. And I think that I'm curious if was that a natural thing for you and just sort of being open, or was it sort of a learning curve for you to be like, okay, like this is actually what I need to be doing, which is just saying it all and just really sharing that story?
Yeah, no, when this opportunity was presented to me and I talked to first my husband and then my mom and dad, and really those were the only people whose opinions I considered.
Yeah.
Once I got their blessing, I told the show that I'm in and I'm all in. I don't go half in. I'm one of those, like if I'm going to learn tennis, I'm going to buy the best equipment and hire a private instructor and blah, 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 or else I'm just not going to do it.
Totally.
So when I signed up for the show, I said, my life is an open book. You can ask anything you want. They said, are there off-topic things that, you don't really want to talk about? Are there areas in your house you don't want us to go to? I said, no. You can ask me about anything. You can go anywhere in my house. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best possible approach to have, because otherwise I think people notice that you're not being fully open about something, you know what I mean? And then maybe they dig that up separately. And so it's like, why not just say it yourself, right? Why not you be the messenger of it? So
the Bravo fans are smart. They keep receipts.
Oh,
they
yeah.
have encyclopedic knowledge of past seasons and so who said what, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So yeah,
you'll catch up, right? Exactly. So I mean, again, like I also another great thing about being a housewife is that we get a lot of conflict, and that obviously makes for some great TV. And I would love to just go through the different ladies on the cast and just hear, because I feel like there are kind of like underlying either tensions or already having conflict with people. First off is Cameron. I think we talked about the chicken feet incident. Do you feel like going forward you're going to connect more with her, or is there more conflict to come with you and Cameron?
I'm really over chicken feet gate. When we're arguing about chicken feet, I'm like, are we seriously talking about this again? But she brings it up over and over again, and I'm done with it. And centerpieces, I'm like, okay, I got the hint. But Cameron likes to, sort of
she can dwell for sure. Yeah.
Yes, which Stephanie warned me about. I actually love Cameron. Her birthday was last week. I dropped off a pink Hermes scarf and a arrangement of flowers that were from all of us with a card, all of the 6 housewives. And I hope that she and I can get to a good place. I do see a potential for us to be close friends because we like all the same things.
Same. I feel like you have a lot I feel like you do have a lot in common when it comes down to it.
We do, and we can have a lot of fun together, but we just have to get over this chicken foot thing. Like, it's over. It was like a funny moment. It didn't work out. I know I made you uncomfortable. Like, let's just drop it and move on, because I really do think that we have the potential to be really good friends.
For sure. I agree with that. What about Stephanie? I feel like there is some sort of underlying tension that I'm sensing between you two, because there was sort of a comment about your showing off your closet and what have you. Where are we going to go with Stephanie? Are you guys going to hit it off? Or is there going to be kind of a conflict down the road? What can you tell me about your relationship with Stephanie?
I mean, I don't think there's going to be any conflicts down the road, but I also didn't think that during the first episode or 2 that she was going to call my closet door obnoxious. That was a little bit of a surprise to me.
Got it. Okay. So that was a confession. That was a confessional comment, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I saw that, maybe one day before you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, because I was like, wow, I had no idea you felt that way.
Right.
I wish you had told me, and it was hurtful because I wasn't trying to brag about my things. I really was trying to have my girlfriends over and show them something that I was excited about, that I had been waiting for over 6 months. It arrived in the mail like a few days prior, and I was excited to share that with them. And for them to have flipped that and be like, oh, she's showing off, was hurtful.
Yeah, and I think it's also sort of that's part of being on a show like this, which is sort of there is sort of a materialism aspect to it, which we all embrace and we all love, and it sort of adds to the camp vibe of Real Housewives. And so I think to single that out felt a little bit unfair.
Yeah, I just that part was a little bit ouch for me. But I guess this is what I'm learning, that sometimes there are going to be those ouch moments for me, and I'm going to just have to get past those, because really Steffi and I have a good relationship. Yeah. I'm not going to let this one obnoxious closet comment ruin our good relationship, because she is a good person. Her husband and I serve on a board together. Like, we got to get over this. This is all small stuff.
Small potatoes,
you cannot ruin friendships over things like this.
Absolutely not. But I think, maybe take some notes for the reunion. So
people keep telling me about notes and the reunion. I am getting a lot of anxiety about that. I'm an anxious person, and I'm like, this reunion, like.
Okay, but Tiffany, you made an Excel sheet for the pros and cons of joining. So maybe you have to make an Excel sheet of like, a tab for all the different ladies. And what'd you say about me in that confessional in episode 5 or 6? Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Did they allow laptops at reunion? Can I just bring my Excel spreadsheet?
Hey, Monique brought a whole binder full of receipts to the Potomac reunion a couple weeks ago. So I think a computer could take it to the next level.
This is my binder.
I'm here for that. Bring your charger. Make sure to bring your charger.
Yeah. Make sure it doesn't die like we did earlier.
What about Carrie? I feel like you guys, to me, I feel like there's the most sort of like potential for butting heads there, because she's kind of pushing you with the shots and trying to like be more quote unquote fun. There was a little Twitter interaction that I saw back and forth. What's the deal with you and Carrie? Or do you guys sort of not see eye to eye on certain things?
Yeah, we don't see eye to eye on certain things. I think mostly about what it means to have fun. I think her idea of fun is different than my idea of having fun. Actually, before the show started, I had hung out with Carrie on several occasions at like public parties, happy hours, that sort of thing. And we were having fun, because that's when she shines. But when I'm tired and I just want to relax and have some girl talk and not drink tequila shots, like, then we butt heads, right?
For sure, yes. She's sort of like an always-on person, it seems.
Yes,
that's the impression I get.
I mean, she has more energy than anybody I know. And as you know, she just turned 50.
Right.
And I'm 36, and I don't know, when I'm 50, I'm going to be like curled up in bed, like barely going outside. I envy her energy, but we do not see eye to eye on some things. And there were a number of circumstances that I think you will see for yourself throughout the season, where she's not very nice sometimes. And you'll see it for yourself. Like, that's not my judgment call. I mean, you can see her push me into the swimming pool. Like, I was just hanging out with my friends, and then she's like, Tiffany, come here for a second. And then next thing you know, I'm in the swimming pool with all my clothes on.
Yeah. And I think it's sort of passed off as like quote unquote hazing. And I'm not sure that's necessarily, that's a little bit taking it too far. I would say, but I do think that there's sort of, I can sense that sort of tension. So I expect there's probably more there. What about with Brandy? You just called her a goofball, and I feel like, you had that emotional moment to start off your friendship. Where do you guys go from here? Do you guys have fun together, or is there sort of more there?
No, I think the world of Brandy. She's super fun. She's a great mom. She's expecting her baby right now, so she is with child and ready to deliver any minute now. I am going to check up on her actually later today.
Oh, good.
I have some baby presents ready for her when her new baby girl comes. I feel like we're in a really good place right now.
Good. And then lastly, Deandra, she again is to introduce you to the show. I assume that your friendship is still going strong. I feel like it's fun to watch you guys together, because it's clear that you really get along and have fun with one another. What's it like between you and Deandra after this experience together? We're
like a sister relationship. Like, sometimes we'll argue, and I'll be like, oh, you're being so dramatic right now. Like, stop. And, and then she'll be like, oh, okay. Like, I can actually calm her down sometimes, which is
that's good
thing. She was sick at the hospital. She was in the hospital for 5 days. I checked up on her, and she was like really cold, but she couldn't wear pants because she just had ankle surgery. So she needed a long sleeve shirt, but shorts. So I found the cutest pair of pajamas at Neiman Marcus and brought them to the COVID unit at her hospital, along with some soup dumplings. Because she was like, I don't know how you eat this hospital food every day. And I was like, I don't. That's why I bring my lunch. And so I went to our favorite Chinese restaurant and brought her soup dumplings so that she could enjoy those. And I'm so glad that she did better because she was in rough shape.
It sounded pretty scary there for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad that she's recovered, and I'm glad that you were there for her to bring her some of those gifts. And I think a huge part of Deandra's presence on the show is Mama D, who is just such a character. I think we all like, she is just like, every time she's on screen, I'm just like, how are you real? I'm just sort of like, you are so out of this world. What do you think of Mama D? Because I'd love to hear your thoughts.
You know, I always called Mama D the seventh housewife. I called her that like since season 2 or 3 when her and Deandra started arguing about the business. I was she's the seventh housewife. I love Mama D. I have not seen her much lately because of my work schedule, and she had some health issues as well. But she's real. Like, that's not a character that you see on TV. That's her.
Amazing. I love her so much.
I know.
Another fun thing that I saw on your social media was that you got a Vita tequila shipment from Lisa Barlow, who is on Salt Lake City, another new housewife. Is she, one, how did you guys connect? And 2, have you connected with any other housewives from other cities?
Yeah, I never watched any of the other franchises before joining because I don't watch TV in general. I don't know any shows. Whenever people are talking like, did you watch this? And I'm like,
what's that?
And so Lisa and I don't know how we connected. One of us messaged the other person and said, you know, love you on your show and love you on your show. And basically, you know, we're like, I love you.
Yeah, fangirling.
And so, so she's like, can I send you something? And then the Vita tequila showed up. And then I sent her some of my candles, which hopefully she'll get soon. And the only other housewife from another franchise that I've talked to is Jen Shaw, because she reached out to me and was like,
so
Carole,
nice.
You're killing it on the show. Love you. Hope to meet you in real life sometime. So I would love to connect with the other housewives. It's just
it'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And honestly, maybe that Vita tequila can come in handy if you and Carrie need to have some sort of come to Jesus moment together. She loves tequila, and you have your own stash now. So thank you, Lisa Barlow.
I showed up to her birthday party. I worked that day, and I swung by the liquor store on my way home, and I asked the guy at the liquor store, what's the best tequila you have? And he handed me this something. It was like 1942, and it was expensive tequila. So I brought that like as a peace offering for her birthday present, and she still shoved me in the pool. So
it didn't work. If that doesn't work, then I don't know what will.
It didn't work.
And wrapping it up here, I think, you know, again, we sort of talked about the note taking for the reunion. Are there any things already that you're sort of like, okay, I might have to bring that up at the reunion because that's not how, you know, I remember it going down, or that opinion surprised me? Is there anything that's already sort of top of mind for you?
No, just this sort of things that we've talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only like, you know, 4
episodes in.
Yeah, 4 episodes in. And I'm like, chill. There's like 12 more episodes. Like,
right. Yeah.
You know, like let it settle a little.
There's more to come.
There is more to come. But yeah, no, I think that so far everyone has been portrayed accurately. Good.
And then lastly, is this something that you would want to do again? Would you come back for another season? Like, has this, again, there's obviously more to come. There's the reunion. There's more stuff to watch through, but is this something that you had fun with that you would sign up for again?
You know, there was a lot of fun moments. There was a lot of introspection. There were also a lot of tears and a lot of fighting. Right now, I don't think I can answer that question. I think I have to finish the season and also talk to my family. It did take a lot of time away from my family. And mind you, I'm still working a full-time job as an anesthesiologist right now. So, you know, my desk, you can't see, but is filled with paperwork and research things that I need to do. So I feel a little pressed for time. And I'm not sure that I have the capacity to sign on for a second season unless I back off on something else, because there's just not enough hours in the day.
Totally. I was actually, I meant to ask that earlier, was did when you were filming, did you have to take on a lowered schedule at work, or were you full force with both?
Oh no. Full-time every day. The day of Carrie's birthday party, I worked 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Wow.
Went to the party, got home at around 10:30, 11, and then was back in the OR at 7 and worked until 5 the next day.
Wow.
While everyone else was like chilling and by the pool and like, oh, I'm so hungover from yesterday. I was like, well, I'm not, because I didn't drink that much because I knew I had to go to work the next day.
Totally.
And then you guys all called me a loser. Like, thanks.
You just gotta bite your tongue sometimes, I guess.
So yeah, second season, maybe no.
We'll see. I'm loving you on the show, Tiffany, and I'm so glad that we got the time to connect. Where can people follow you and see more from you outside of the Real Housewives of Dallas?
I am on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Tiffany Moon MD, and I am selling candles, my aromasthesia collection, as well as my Eternal Love necklace on TiffanyMoonMD.com, and all of the proceeds from these items go to victims of domestic violence. Incredible.
I love that. I saw the candles, and I've already seen people raving about them. So that's awesome.
Yay, I have to send you one.
I would love that. I would love that. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for calling in, and I can't wait to see the rest of the season of Real Houses of Dallas, because you've been a great addition so far. So
thank you so much. It was great talking to you, Gibson.
It really was. Yeah, you too. All right. Bye, Tiffany.
Bye, honey.
Thank you so much for listening. For more celebrity interviews, subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you like what you heard, please rate and review us, as any show of support you can give us would be greatly appreciated. You can follow me at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow In The Know at In The Know on Twitter and at Watch In The Know on Instagram. We'll talk to you next time.